All right, YouTube is telling me I am live. There we go. I can see myself now. Awesome. All right, guys, welcome to today's midday update. Today's date is Tuesday, October the 8th, 2019. This is Mark coming at you guys from our headquarters here in Toronto, Ontario. Let's go ahead and get started. So, did not do an update yesterday as I was sick at home with a fever and still not feeling the best, but we're here and let's get this guy going. So, first things first, throughout the morning session, excuse me, a bit of a sell-off off the morning session on the S&P 500. Brought us to fresh lows at around 28.96, and we've kind of been hovering around there between the 29.10s or so and the 28.96s. Crude oil as well. We opened up the pit session off of the overnight lows just above them around the 52.11s. Our overnight lows came in at 51.81, and we've kind of just been hanging around. Not really too much direction on crude oil today throughout the US session. Yes, we have broken above the pit session view app, but we remain below the previous day close, which shows us an indication that this market is a little bit mixed in the sense that we are below the previous day's close. However, we are above the current, rather the pit open on today's session. So a bit of a mixed signal here, suggesting weakness, the fact that we're below the previous day close, but a little bit of strength on today's session, the fact that we are above the pit open. So a bit mixed on that front. However, S&P 500, we are below both the previous day close and the US session open, which is giving us more clear signals that downside is the right side on these S&P 500. All right, so that's what I see here. Looking at the, where's my stuff? Looking at the, looking at the agenda for the remainder of today's session, we do have two data points coming through. We got one at 1:35 p.m. Eastern Time. We've got FOMC member Evans speaking. So Charles Evans, this is the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago president, who is a voting member of the FOMC, due to speak at the Chicago Rotary Club luncheon with audience questions expected. So this is showing up as a medium impact event. Obviously, as Evans is a voting member of the FOMC, could anticipate a little bit of volatility on the back of what he says. Of course, the usual effect is if he's more hawkish than expected, that is typically seen as good for the dollar, and vice versa. Also at 1:50 p.m. Eastern Time, really odd times on today's agenda. 1:50 p.m. Eastern Time, we have Fed Chair Powell speaking. He's due to deliver a speech titled Data Dependence in an Evolving Economy at the 61st annual meeting of the National Association of Business Economics in Denver. And again, he is the Fed Chair. Obviously, he has voting power on here. So this one is going to be a little bit higher of an impact event than FOMC members Evans. However, the fact that they are speaking within 20 minutes or so of each other should give the equity markets a little bit of volatility going into the close of US session trading. All right, that's all that we've got on the agenda for the remainder of today's session. We also do have Fed's Kashkari speaking at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, not likely to affect the U.S. markets during the U.S. session. However, as we get into the Globex session, Fed's Kashkari speech might have a little bit of an effect on how the markets are trading around the Globex open. All right, so that's what we've got for the remainder of the day. Let's take a quick peek at some of the news events that came through overnight and through the US session. So as always, Georgie covered a majority of these throughout the morning part of today's session. All right, so the main ones were basically that risk appetite loses some luster after China urged US to withdraw decision to blacklist Chinese companies, adding that adding that retaliatory moves might come. And We had reportedly White House to focus on limiting China stocks and government pensions funds to protect against OPEC Chinese oversight. We also had Trump administration blocking U.S. Ambassador to the European Union Gordon Sondland from appearing at House impeachment deposition today. We had September PPI final demand month-over-month figures, which came in at a pretty sizable miss, minus 0.3% versus plus 0.1 expected. Year over year figures come in a little bit shy. Expected number was 1.8% versus 1.4%, which came through. And that is basically all that we had on the US session agenda today. Nothing really outside of that. And based on that, we can jump into our charts here. As you guys know, we've just got some Fed speak coming into the latter half of today's session. Nothing else really on the back of that front. So let's switch off of the camera onto the quote board here, which you guys should be seeing in just a moment. And let's get this guy started. So crude oil, pretty okay. Volume 100 or 432,000 contracts. Just change this guy to be yellow. Awesome. All right, so crude oil up here, 432,000 contracts. We are down just under 1% from the previous day close. Your previous day close came in at the 52.81. Last traded price is the 52.24s, and so that's what's giving us the daily change percentage. As I mentioned before jumping onto the charts, previous day close was the 52.81s, so we are below that. But the cash session open was at the 52.11s, and we are above that. So a bit of a mixed signal coming through right now. If we can get back below the pit session open, we might make a drive back towards those overnight lows at the 51.81s. So long as we remain above that pit open, I think we'll likely make a press back up to that previous day low around those 52.60s or so. All right, so that's what I'm seeing on crude oil. Right now, it's just kind of hovering around its VWAPs. We did make a fake breakout above it, rotated back down. Now we're just kind of holding below it for the time being. Obviously, the lead-in trend was bearish. We did make a counter trend move throughout a majority of today's US session. Now, if we're going to continue on down, we really shouldn't get back above that VWAP around these 52.40s. So this level should hold and get us continuing down to that overnight low. Like I said, back above this VWAP, 52.45s or so, we'll likely make another move back towards the top of that range and see where it goes from there. All right, that's what I'm seeing on crude oil. On S&P 500, the volume is looking pretty good. 1.05 million contracts traded so far today. Daily change percentage is pretty okay as well, minus 1.22%. Your previous day close was the 29, what number is that? 29.35s. Your current last traded price is 29.01 quarter. So we are down a sizable chunk with some pretty good volume on the back of that move today. So that being said, can expect a little bit more downside here on these S&Ps. Where did we bounce off of? We almost came into S3. As you can see here, S3 is at the 28.92. So that's where the S3 is. We did have a nice breakdown, rotated S1, S2, broke those. Now we're kind of holding that as well. And so S2 should be resistance 29.10s if we can get up there. That should be resistance. Otherwise, I think we're going to make another press towards S3 right around these 28.90s, which also looks like a pretty good level here, as it was at kind of the top of that range before we pressed on out. So if I just extend that across, that should be some pretty good support. Like I said, S2 will likely see a retest, and from there, if the sellers decide to step in, we'll make that press down. If not, we'll continue up above 29.10. That's kind of what I'm seeing on that front. Let's get rid of this. On crude oil front as well, you know, we did kind of make lows. We did make a potentially higher low here, broke to fresh highs, and then on that rotation, we really should have continued up if the bulls were going to come back in. Instead, what we saw was a rotation that kind of failed. So there was your high. This effectively became a lower high once we broke down below there. So now it just looks to me like we're back on the sell side. Sellers are in control. We did flush to a new low. Currently looking to retest 50.85s here, those previous lows. However, that being said, we did crack below these 52.80s. So now should be seeing S1 hold as resistance for a continuation back down into those 50.85s or so. All right, that's what I'm seeing on crude. And same kind of story. I told you guys what I'm looking for here. We are looking for, crude to kind of hold these 52.35s or so, 52.40s. We are starting to see that it's holding a couple of rotations, and looking for a spill back below that open. If we get that, we'll likely look to target these overnight lows, 51.81s, and then back under there, 51.40s. Just if I zoom out of this thing, you guys can see what the obvious lead-in trend is. It's obviously bearish. Um, this could be, CT. This is your counter trend pullback. And then you get kind of the continuation, which I think we're looking to get through now. So I think that pullback might be towards its end, and I think that the sellers should start stepping in on this thing below these 40s, 35s, back to fresh lows. All right, so that's what I got on both of these markets. Let's take a look at the chat. I see George. Hello, George. Hello, Joseph. Majestic Centaur, how's it going? You're killing it today. That's good to hear. Roni, thanks for the kind wishes. And hello, Jocelyn. All right, guys. So that's basically what I got on that front. On equities, like I said here, based off of those pivots, we did bounce off of these 96s or so. What you guys are seeing is we did have a nice little resistance level here. Nice little resistance level here again, right around those 10 quarters, 10 halves. I think that's where the overnight low also lines up. Yeah, around the 10 quarters or so. So this has been a pretty big level. You guys are seeing there's been some nice reactions out of it. So there was your first reaction, nice move down, a nice second reaction. And the thing that I'm noticing about these, breakdowns from that level, this one wasn't the greatest, although it was still pretty straight down, not very many chances for the buyers to get in. This one itself didn't really give the buyers, or rather the sellers, any pullbacks to get in. It was just a straight drop. And so I'm expecting a bit of a chop to continue back up into that level. Again, if we do get back up in here, I'll be looking for the sellers to take this thing back down. You've got your value area low here. You've got overnight low, opening range low, and you got the Globex VWAP starting to come down in. So a lot of reasons this should be resistance. A lot of key session levels, volume profile, etc., sitting around there that should act as resistance if we get back up. That's where I'll be looking to get shorts. Uh, you know, Outside of that, I've just been really patient myself, not really trading any of this stuff in the middle, just being patient to wait for my levels to get hit, and then looking to get a nice high probability trade on the back of that. All right, so that's what I got for you guys. Not really looking to do anything in the middle. However, like I said, if it does come back in there, I might look to take an additional short. If we get back above that, likely going to be done for the day, to be honest. And so I'm not really looking to buy this thing up. And if we do get back above that zone, we'll likely get a slow grind back up to the open, and I will not want to be participating in that. So if the 29.10 quarters break, I'm honestly probably just going to head out for the for the day. So that's what I got for you guys. Last little bit of information here is our TradePro Performance Index. So this is how the team did today. Today's date. Let me change the color on this pen here. Let's make it green. Awesome. So today's date, October the 8th, we had 61.22% finished the day positive, live positive. What does live positive mean? It means the team either finished up or flat on the day, and then the remainder finished down on the session. So 61.22% of the team that traded live capital today closed green on the session, and just we missed yesterday, so I'll take a look at that one. 66% as well. So pretty okay start. Strongest start that we've had to a month. you know, on the first and on the second 80% respectively. We are kind of fizzling out from that momentum, but we look to pick it back up again into the latter half of this trading week. Ideally, we can get back on that 70% train and continue strong from there. So that's what I got for you guys today. A little bit shorter, but hopefully um, the weather starts agreeing with us and we start to recover a little bit sooner. So that's going to be what I've got for you guys today. If you will be trading into the latter end of the session, you know the three rules: patient, diligent, and discipline. You've got Feds Evans speaking at 1:35 p.m. Eastern time, and you got Jay Powell speaking at 1:50 p.m. Eastern time. So I'd be careful opening up any new positions around that time. Let the algos kind of play themselves out, as I'm sure we will see some algo movement. Not so much during Evan's speech, but more so during Jay's speech at 1:50 p.m. and look to play that market. Let the algos make the first move and then look to jump in and catch the secondary impulse move. Don't look to be a hero. Those algos will get you in and out. Will get you filled and stopped before it goes in the right direction. So try not to trade against them. Let them provide the liquidity. Let them show you which way it wants to go, and then it's your job to find a nice low risk entry. All right, so that's gonna be me for today. Until tomorrow, hopefully you guys have a great day, and we'll see you then. Good luck and good trading. Take care, everyone. Mm-mm-mm. Now let's find this. Stop streaming.